From the heart of the bayou to the roar of the Pacific Northwest, the Saints are marching in. New Orleans comes armed with veterans, some young guns with a lot of swagger, and a defense that is ready to silence the noise. The road is tough, the crowd is loud, but this isn't just a road trip. It's time for the Saints to make a statement in Seattle, bring a W back from Washington. Welcome into Saints Game Day Live, presented by Cutwater, right here on NewOrleansSaints.com, alongside former Saints linebacker, Super Bowl champ Scott Shanley. I'm Aaron Summers. The Saints are taking on Seattle 3:05 Central Time on CBS if you want to watch the game. And you can always join us with all the information on NewOrleansSaints.com or at Saints on Twitter. This is the first road trip for the Saints this season, and it is in Lumen Field, a place that is historically known to be very loud. You have played there.
Yes, too many times.
For the Saints to have success in that kind of environment, how do they have to approach this game?
It's about starting fast, and you want to do that every week, but when you go into a hostile environment like Seattle is one of the toughest places to play. The crowd noise, they get on top of you right away, and they're free. They get frenzied, so it comes down. If you want to make life easier on your quarterback and offensive line and take those defensive linemen out of the game, start fast, get a couple of takeaways, jump out to a lead, take the crowd out of it.
Quarterback Spencer Rattler is coming off his best game as the Saints quarterback, 3 passing touchdowns. He had the most passing yards and the highest completion percentage that he's had so far. How does he continue to build off of that? Yeah,
Spencer's been playing really well. I think the first job of a quarterback is to take care of the football. He's done that. He hasn't had any turnovers. He would like to have more big plays, but he's doing what he needs to do within the framework of the offense. You can see the confidence continue to grow in him. His timing, his rhythm in the pocket has been exceptional. Now going on in Seattle on road, it's going to be a little bit different. This is his 9th time starting, only 3 career road games. Green Bay probably the toughest before Seattle today. So again, it's about starting fast at the quarterback position.
Looking at the defense, I think the biggest issue that they've had through the first 2 games is the opponent's third down percentage. It's bottom 4 in the league, and they need to get the number down a little bit, sitting at 49% right now. What do they need to do to lower that number?
Well, they're frustrated, and I'm sure they are frustrated defensively because they've done a good job of getting teams into 3rd and long. That's your main goal. First of all, you want to take the football away, but if you're not taking the football away, you want to get into 3rd and 7+ because your chances of winning 3rd down are dramatically better. It takes too long for the quarterback to go back and throw the ball and let those routes develop. They've been getting them in 3rd and long, but like last week, a couple big 3rd down conversions. Those usually lead to points. So it's about continue to do what you're doing and getting them into 3rd and long, but just making the play on those deep throws and getting some more pass rush, maybe bringing a few more blitzers.
Looking at the matchup, it's still a lot of unknown in Seattle with the new offensive coordinator, Clint Kubiak. Saints have a little familiarity there. New quarterback in Sam Darnold and a lot of new pieces on their offense. Who are the biggest threats that the Saints are going to face today?
Well, everything starts with the Seattle team is the running game. You have to stop this running. And without one of those dynamic duos today and their 2-headed monster, they have a young offensive line, but they want to turn around. They're going to hand the ball off. They want to give the ball to Kenneth Walker. He's an outstanding player in this league. Sam Darnold has been a really good veteran quarterback, but they want to turn around and hand the football off. They want to set up those play action passes. And like perfect reference to Coach Kubiak. Anybody who saw him run the Saints offense last year, once that running game got going, those deep play action shots to Shaheed, that's what he wants to do with Cooper Kupp and Jackson Smith and Jigba. Get the ball going on the running game, turn around, play action pass, and get the ball over your head.
You mentioned that 2-headed monster, Zach Charbonneau, not playing today. He is inactive, one of those running backs there. Kenneth Walker did just fine last week with 105 yards on the ground, so he is still a big threat there. Looking at the receivers, Jackson Smith and Jigba is dealing with an illness, but they still have Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, and they went out and got this guy. First of all, they went and got their quarterback in Sam Darnold. But Cooper Kupp fits, I think, to what Seattle wants to do in Coach Kubiak. Like I said, run the ball first, but you need those possession receivers, those inside the hash type receivers. Cooper will go across the middle, and he'll battle anybody on those slant plays. So I think with Jackson Smith and Jigba, if he's healthy and Cooper Kupp together, they're a dynamic duo because Cooper's the veteran receiver, Jackson Smith and Jigba the young dynamic receiver that can make you pay over the top of your defense.
Yeah, looking at their defense, they have been very good through these first 2 seasons under Mike Macdonald. So far, they have 49% pass rush percentage. So they are coming at you up the middle. How do you counteract that in order for quarterback Spencer Rattler to have time and success?
Yeah, you can't just get back into a straight drop back game and just let them know you're going to throw the ball all the time. You can't get into to obvious passing downs. That's where getting into 3rd and short, running the ball successfully on 1st down, getting into 2nd and 7, taking that defensive line out of the game because they are ready to pin their ear back. You said Mike Macdonald, he came over from the Ravens and he likes to bring a lot of pressure.
Yeah, for the running back, Alvin Kamara to get going, he's done extremely well against the Seattle teams over the last 3 games, 178 scrimmage yards and 3 touchdowns. He's averaging 178 scrimmage yards per game.
Yeah.
How do we get him going against that line?
You saw last week, every time people think, well, he's going to year 9, you got to take some touches away from him. Last week, over 100 yards rushing. And the more you get the ball to 41, and you haven't even really seen the ball to him much in the passing game. I think today, isolating him on some of the linebackers of Seattle in the pass game, getting him out of the backfield in the screen game, I still think he's one of the best in the league at doing that. So the more 41 touches the ball, the better. And he has been outstanding against Seattle. The Saints have won the last 4 against the Seahawks. Big reason why is because of the amount of yardage and production 41's had against him.
You're looking at the secondary. The Seahawks have had 2 interceptions per game through the first 2, so 4 total. Who are the threats there?
To me, the interceptions really come. They're banged up a little bit in the secondary.
Yeah.
Witherspoon out, he's an outstanding young player, but I think a lot of their production and interceptions isn't really attributed to the secondary as much as it's attributed to that front. Leonard Williams gets so much pressure. They brought DeMarcus Lawrence over from the Cowboys. They have good veteran players up in that front 7 that bring a lot of heat, and I think that's how a lot of these balls, especially in zone defense, the DBs are making plays on it.
All right, well, that's what Scott Shanley had to say about this matchup. Let's hear from head coach Kellen Moore. I was able to catch up with him before they headed
Coach, this week
to
you
the
get to
West.
go. Coach, this week you get to go back home to Washington. Is there a little more excitement knowing that you're going back to at least your home state?
It'll be fun. Yeah, obviously grew up there, and so those are always fun opportunities for us. A lot of us have those occasions through an NFL season, but it'll be a fun opportunity for us.
What's the benefit for going a couple days early, especially since you're going out to the West Coast?
Yeah, just getting acclimated, time zone, climate, all that good stuff. I think that's the main focus of it, and our guys will get to spend a little bit more time together, which will be great.
I heard associate head coach, running back coach Joel Thomas say, poise in the noise. Is that what it's going to take on Sunday?
Yeah, certainly. This is one of the special environments in our league. They do a great job there. It's really loud. We've talked about it all week, poise in the noise. From an offense perspective, we got to be really focused and focus on the details.
With quarterback Spencer Rattler coming off a 3-touchdown career day against the Niners, what does he have to do to build off of that?
Just continue to grow. Just keep making consistent decisions, do a really good job protecting the football while still being aggressive. He's done a great job the first 2 weeks.
That Seattle defensive line, highest pressure against quarterbacks so far through the first 2 weeks. How do you counteract what they can do up front?
Yeah, it's going to take all game long because they're relentless. They play with great effort. They're really, really talented. Mike does a phenomenal job with them. And so we're going to have to do a number of things. We're going to have to keep mixing it up on those guys, giving ourselves as many different looks for them to stress them. And it's going to be a challenge.
What's the key to getting the run game going?
Yeah, I think just consistency. And, we got to get movement on the first level and get to the second level so we can get to space.
When you look at your defense going up against all of the offensive weapons that the Seahawks have, 2 receivers, 2 backs, they added a fullback now. What do you focus in on?
Yeah, they got it all, and they do an awesome job. Clint's going to do a great job, as always, up there, and so it'll be a fun challenge for us. We're going to play really good on first and second down and put ourselves in really good third downs, and we're going to take advantage of them.
With the scheme that they run, a wide zone, how do you limit the explosive plays?
Yeah, that's the challenge of it is, you can be really, really sound for so many plays. It just takes one play where someone's misaligned, misses their fit, and an explosive happens.
We've been in the first 2 games, so how do we finish this one?
Yeah, it's going to come down to situational football as this thing goes. We got to keep playing clean football. We got to get some turnovers if we can, and put ourselves in a really good position like we have and just finish.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you.
We were talking about all the weapons that the Seahawks team has offensively. Coach Moore touched on it. They're going to throw a lot at you. I was talking to Cam Jordan this week, and he said that there are a lot of distractions that Clint Kubiak is going to throw at you. How do you not get distracted by those?
Yeah, and I think we always call that eye candy, and they probably still refer to that. Just a lot of motions, a lot of shifts, a lot of things to get you off your game before the ball snap. Pre-snap motions and window dressing, things that mess with your eyes. A lot of offense coordinators like to manipulate defensive players' eyes because then it obviously creates holes in the running game. And I think that's why you've seen the Kubiaks and the Shanahans and that type of offense be so successful in the running game because of all the eye candy pre-snap.
Yeah, well, they should be a little more used to seeing that. They went up against it all last season. Let's go to Stan Verrett now and hear his recipes for success in this matchup against the Seahawks.
Saints will once again try for their first win of the season Sunday when they take on the Seahawks in Seattle. Let's take a look at the recipe for success for that game. It starts with communication. Lumen Field has a well-deserved reputation as one of the toughest places to play in the NFL because of the crowd noise generated by Seattle's famous 12th man. You may remember in Week 1, the Saints had some problems with pre-snap penalties. They were able to get that corrected in Week 2, and that trend will need to continue this week. They will practice with loudspeakers on full blast this week, hoping that will help with snap counts and limiting penalties on Sunday. Ingredient number 2 is trying to make Seattle one-dimensional. Kenneth Walker IV ran for 105 yards on just 13 carries in Seattle's Week 2 win against the Steelers on the road. Saints will need to shut that down in Week 2, especially on first and second down. They need to get the Seahawks into third and long situations to deal with their passing game with Sam Darnold, Jackson Smith-Njigba, and Cooper Kupp. And that passing game, incidentally, led by former Saints offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak. Saints pass rush could become a factor if they get the Seahawks into third and long, and the Saints are currently tied for second in the NFL with 8 sacks through 2 games, and Carl Granderson is tied for the NFL lead with 3.5 sacks so far. And the final ingredient is continuing to help Spencer Rattler develop. Rattler took some steps from Week 1 to Week 2 with his play. Running the ball certainly helped. Alvin Kamara had 99 yards on the ground to give the Saints a little bit more balance. Receivers have to step up a bit more this week. They had some problems with drops in Week 2. But the Saints, very efficient in the red zone. They were 3 for 3 with 3 touchdowns as Rattler threw 3 touchdown passes in his best start so far of his Saints career. We'll be looking to get his first win Sunday in Seattle. That's the recipe for success. Aaron, back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Stan. Now, he mentioned the development of quarterback Spencer Rattler. How do you set him up for success early? You call something that lets him settle in? You let him use his legs, especially against that line?
Yeah, obviously I think the biggest thing is running the football well against this defense line. We talked a lot about that, but you help a quarterback feel comfortable in this type of environment by the type of early first 15 play calls that you script. Screen game, quick 3-step drops. Not a whole lot of plays where you just straight there 5 to 7-step drop him back there and putting all the pressure on him to make the accurate throw in that type of environment. So I think it's about starting him off on the right foot.
The other keys to success in his recipe were communication and making the Seahawks one-dimensional. What are your recipes for success?
I think this game really starts, everything we've talked about, controlling the crowd noise, doing all those things, it starts with the play of the offensive line. I know the Saints offensive line is a little banged up going into this game and not ideal when you're going against guys like Leonard Williams, DeMarcus Lawrence, veteran players who have been Pro Bowl type players. But I also think I have a lot of faith in Coach Moore to put this offensive line with the pieces that are moving around in position to succeed, even despite those injuries. And I think it starts with being patient. And I think in the first 2 games, you've seen a lot of patience from this offense. You've seen a couple of shots maybe in Week 2 versus Week 1, but I don't think it's not really a recipe for success to drop back and throw the ball 40-plus times against Seattle on the road in that type of environment. That usually means bad things. Put yourself into a position where you don't have to throw.
Yeah.
You can throw when you want to throw.
Yeah, that's a good point. And Spencer did throw over 40 balls Week 1.
Yep.
Week 2, you saw the development of the offense a little bit more. They were patient, especially going to their run a lot more as well, kind of getting people to settle in that way. Let's go to Mina Kimes now. Stan Verrett was able to catch up with ESPN's Mina Kimes in his celebrity interview this week. So let's see what she had to say about her beloved Seahawks.
And joining us now, ESPN NFL analyst Mina Kimes. Mina, welcome to Saints Game Day Live. It's great to have you.
It's great to see you. I'm thrilled to be here.
All right, so for people who don't know, your football origin story on the road to becoming a television analyst began with your dad and the Seahawks, right?
That is correct. My dad is from Seattle. He was in the military, so I grew up all over the country, but we were always Seattle sports fans growing up. So not just Seahawks, Mariners, Sonics when I was a kid, Huskies football, University of Washington. But the Seahawks have always been consistent for us, something that my dad and I have bonded over for years. We've been through ups, we've been through downs. And yeah, it's just, it's been a lifelong fandom for me.
What are the key matchups you'll be looking at as we ask you to to transition from your fan hat to your analyst hat now?
There's a few things I'm interested because the Saints have been interesting to watch early on. One of the things I highlighted on my podcast that I think is going to be big is just whether or not they could stop Alvin Kamara, who still looks awesome. And the Saints have been able to run the ball decently well through the first 2 weeks in spite of sort of up and down play from the offensive line. The Seahawks run defense looks vastly improved through the first 2 weeks of the season. They are a top 5 defense in a lot of ways, but against the run. So I think that, I think the Saints want to, and Kellen Moore, they want to run this through Kamara. So I think whether or not they can stop him on the ground is going to be massive. On the other side of the ball, I'm interested in whether the Saints pass rush can come alive against some weaknesses on the Seahawks offensive line. You saw the right tackle, Abe Lucas, struggle a bit over the first 2 weeks of the year. And Carl Granderson, man, has been awesome. I think he might lead the league in sacks for the first 2 weeks of the season.
Tied for the lead with 3.5 sacks. Yeah.
Hey, well, so I thought Cam Jordan was really good in the first week too. Yeah, he looked like he turned back the clock a little bit. You got Brissy on the inside, so I think that pass rush is something that I'm keeping an eye on, because the Seahawks have been able to run the ball really well with Kenneth Walker. But the pass game has a little bit up and down. It's very play action centric, so that's something that Brandon Staley and the Saints defense are going to have to prepare for this week, because they are going to play fake it a lot. And you saw last week when the Steelers were dialed in on that play action passing attack with their backers, they were able to take away some of the stuff that Sam Darnold wanted to do through the air.
Yeah, Kenneth Walker, 105 yards last week on just 13 carries. But good news for the Saints is that they have some in-house game tape of Clint Kubiak and his offense from last year when he was with the Saints.
Same offense, pretty much. So, yeah, no, for real, yeah.
Okay, what about your assessment of Spencer Rattler so far?
Man, I think he's played well. I sent you a message about this. I thought he got such a bad rap last year because the circumstances were just so brutal for him. It's crazy. Right. It's a great example. The wins aren't a quarterback stat thing, I always say, because he is not the reason why they're 0-2. In fact, I actually think he's been one of the better players in this offense. But last year, they were missing half the offensive line. He didn't have Chris Olave for the vast majority of his starts. And early on the season, even with some up and down line play, I think he's made plays. I think he's been, for the most part, a good decision maker. I think there's been moments where he's flashed his arm talent, which is pretty strong. It's always been strong. It's part of why he was such a highly touted prospect as a youngster. And then I think he's shown a willingness to scramble and use his legs in key moments. So when I watch the Saints and I think about what are the reasons why this team hasn't won, Spencer Rattler is not the problem. I actually think he's been part of the solution. And so I'm excited to see what he does this week.
Yeah, he got better from week 1 to week 2, and the Saints are hoping that continues as he continues this season as their starting quarterback. Mina, we certainly appreciate the time and you joining us here on Saints Game Day Live.
Thanks for having me.
Enjoy the game, but not too much, hopefully.
I think we echo those sentiments. She can enjoy the game, but we're looking for a Saints win here for sure. Let's take a look at inactives, who is in and out for the Saints in this one. We were watching a couple players, obviously, on the line. We've mentioned it a couple times. Taliesin Fuaga is out. Trevor Penning is actually active, so that was somebody we were watching as well. Offensive lineman Dylan Radins is out. Chase Young still dealing with that calf injury. And then 2 wide receivers in Trey Palmer and Devon Vele, both out. And then Devin Neal and Christian Boyd also out. They're healthy scratches, which they're rookies. And I think they're just making sure that they are healthy in front, and they'll kind of play that game with them throughout the season. A couple notables, though, on the Seahawks side. We went through Zach Charbonneau not playing, and mentioned that Jackson Smith-Njigba is dealing with an illness, so that might affect his game a little bit. Kevin Austin Jr. for the Saints, the wide receiver, was brought up from the practice squad yesterday because of the injuries to the other wide receivers in front of him. And then it looks like Awesome Richards is going to get that start in right tackle in place of Taliesin Fuaga.
Yeah, and that's why you go out and trade for offensive linemen. You need depth at those positions, and he's going to get an opportunity to play today. You don't like to see that many offensive linemen on the inactive report. Obviously, Chase getting close. Bailey had his touchdown last week. He's a huge red zone threat, but obviously Juwan can take over that role. But I think we've talked so much about the quarterbacks, Darnold versus Rattler, offensive line versus offensive line. I always think in games like this, points are at a premium. When you have an opportunity to kick field goals, you got to kick field goals because points are going to be, and it's going to come down to what defense plays better.
Yeah.
It's going to be about defensive football and making a play in the special teams and changing field position. That's boring talk to a lot of people, like field position and special teams, but these are the type of games when you play on the road in those environments, points matter, and you got to take the points when you can get them.
Turnovers,
takeaways, yes.
Yes, we need to see a couple more from the Saints. The defense has been out for them. They have said that after every game, and they need to continue to set up their offense with opportunities there. Got to give a shout out to Cam Jordan, though. Today he is surpassing Drew Brees for the most regular season games with the Saints, 229. I mean, Mina mentioned it. He still got it.
Yeah,
She said he
it's-
looks like he's actually dialed back a few years.
I mean, to start off the season, getting a sack right out of the gate, people are always wondering, can 94 still play? And he just produces. Every time he's on the field, the ultimate leader in the locker room. Everybody loves playing around him. He's got an infectious spirit about him. So it's great to see 94 playing. I joke with him every time I see him, like, are you ever going to give anybody else a chance to play? He just keeps racking up those sack numbers for his Ring of Honor someday. And he's been an outstanding player. And to play that position and to not miss games, I think he missed a game because of COVID and something else. I don't remember what, but
He broke his eye.
his
the
eye.
orbital bone.
So to play that position and battle in the trenches every play and to only miss that many games is phenomenal. He's a true Iron Man.
Yeah, and he was really upset that he's missed 2 games. He's really mad because he says the best availability.
He's been available. Cam, you've been available.
What is this they say? The best ability.
Best ability is
is
available.
availability.
Yep.
There we go. We were looking at the field earlier. There was rain on the field. Just want to mention that going into it. It might be a little slippery as turf. Looks like the rain is going to break up before the game starts. It is a 3:05 kick on CBS. We are going to let you get the last snacks that you need to get before the game starts, and we will see you right back here on NewOrleansSaints.com after the game for the complete breakdown of what we hope is a Saints victory on the road. For Scott Shanley, I'm Erin Summers. Thank you so much for joining us for Saints Game Day Live, presented by Cutwater.